Welcome to Talk About here on Shaw TV North Island. My name is John Twigg. Thanks for tuning in. We have a guest who needs no introduction, but I'm going to give her one anyway. Lois Jarvis. Thanks for coming in, Lois.
Thank you for inviting me, John.
Well, there's lots to talk about. Citizens for Quality Healthcare is the main impetus of this interview, and we'll get there. But I think I'd first like to review your history. You have a very interesting history. Where did it start and how did you get here?
Well, I guess it started in Vancouver. I actually worked in pathology at the Vancouver General Hospital.
In pathology?
And my husband secured work in Campbell River, so we moved here. And I worked part-time at the library for about 4 years. And then I was offered a job in the RCMP office. One of their girls had gone on maternity leave, so that led to a couple of years.
When would that be roughly?
Oh gosh, way in the 70s.
The 70s, okay. Yeah.
And then I did secretarial work. I worked in the radio room. I matroned female prisoners. And then after a couple of years, I was offered a job as the office manager for the Crown Counsel office. Huh. The Crown Counsel office was brand new to Campbell River then, so I worked with the first prosecutor that came here. And so that lasted about 8.5 years, and then I transferred to Lakeview Youth Custody Center to work part-time, as both my husband and I had pretty busy jobs and we had ill parents, so it was time to gear down a bit. Yeah. And I took an early retirement from Lakeview.
Huh. So you've had a lot of crime in your history.
Apparently so. My father says I'm the only one in the family that's ever gone to jail.
Well, you were here for the previous guest and you were talking afterwards about some experiences as a matron. Tell us a bit about that.
Well, I found it actually to be a very good experience. I actually had some people say, gee, how could you do that? And I said, you know, I think everybody should do that, because when you are matroning women, you see that everything isn't just black and white. You see that they've made some mistakes. You're not there to be their judge. And most of them have had very difficult lives.
Yeah. Now, a lot of people watching might not know what a matron does.
A matron supervises a female prisoner while they are in police custody. Yeah. And the RCMP are not allowed to book in a female prisoner or anything until they get a matron on site.
Yeah. Now, Citizens for Quality Healthcare is a group that you're, I'd say, a mainstay of. But were you interested in health issues before?
Yes. Yeah. I think it started out because our parents had health issues, yeah. And then other family members. My husband has had health issues. We have a granddaughter with a very rare autoimmune disease. And, you know, other family members. So we got to get involved. We first got involved with the, by starting the first Open Heart Society in Campbell River, the Campbell River chapter, 28 and a half years ago now.
I was going to say the 70s is a long time ago now.
Yeah, and so with two other couples, Bernie and Lolita Doherty and Rose and Roy Johnson. And it's a support group for heart patients and their families. And we provide that support. We provide financial support if they need it to go to Victoria or Vancouver for procedures. And we also raise money and in our annual Walk for Hearts, which is always the first Sunday of May. And we have spent $250,000 on cardiac equipment for our hospital, and we also pay for nurses and lab techs courses in cardiac care.
I get the sense you're working harder now than you ever did. But I don't. You probably worked hard in times past, but you certainly do work hard now.
Well, I'm not alone in being committed. My husband is, and we have other people, Rich Higginson, Joanne Banks. It's been a very worthwhile learning experience. We started Citizens for Quality Healthcare in early 2006 because in November of 2005, VHA started having these open house meetings, and it was imminently clear what was on the table was that Campbell River Hospital was going to be reduced to little more than a first aid station, and there was going to be one hospital down south. And we thought, oh no, we can't lose our hospital. So our hospital serves the largest geographical area on the North Island. We service over 55,000 people, and we've always, all the studies that were ever done said we needed both hospitals, one in the Comox Valley and one in Campbell River.
But they were seriously trying to get one hospital located in the middle of nowhere on the way to the Mount Washington.
I don't think that was ever going to happen. I think it was more or less a bluff because, I mean, nobody in that rural area wanted an instant town around them. I think it was always going to go to Courtenay. And so we formed a group. There were 6 people from the Comox Valley, 4 people from Campbell River, and we called ourselves Citizens for Quality Healthcare. We started a lot of hard work. We made presentations to mayors and councils for the whole North Island. We did one petition that we displayed. There were 8,000 signatures on that one, and it was unfurled at a VHA meeting in Port Alberni. We later started another petition that was worded to be presented in the legislature.
Wasn't there a demonstration in Victoria too?
Well, we joined that but it was, the demonstration was actually more the BC Health Coalition. But it was a long journey. It took a lot of work, and it was very, very good that we had a fantastic doctor who came to a town hall meeting that we had in Courtenay. And we had one there, one in Campbell River, and we got talking to him, and he united all the doctors, and we all worked together. We got all the mayors and councils of the North Island united, and there had been a motion at the Regional Hospital Board to have one hospital, and so we continued on the petitioning, and we got 19,000 signatures. Our MLA, Claire Tavenna, who has been working all along with us, she has had hospital stakeholder meetings regularly through the years. And we were in the gallery of the legislature when we watched her present the petition. And she kind of held it up and let it drop, and it made a huge thwack on the table. And nobody said anything. And I asked her after, why was there dead silence like that? She said, well, they're not used to getting a petition that large.
I was going to say, I covered the ledge off and on over the past, and 19,000 signatures, that's a lot of work.
I think it got their attention.
Yeah.
And that petition was presented by Claire on November the 7th, 2007. Then February the 7th, 2008, led by Hospital Board Director Brenda Lee and the North Island Director, she made a motion to rescind the original motion for one hospital.
Yeah.
And she quickly fired it in with another motion to have two fully functioning acute care hospitals with services publicly delivered. And it passed, and we were jubilant. And but the doctor that I was talking about, who joined us, he also went with us to make presentations in Gold River and all. And that's Dr. Arif Tabarsi.
I was going to say, you're not using his name, but...
Well, I am so proud of him. I think this whole North Island should be putting a wing in his honor, because without him and the other doctors that worked with us, that hospital would not be happening. And I don't think he's gotten the recognition that he deserves for everything. He put in a lot of hours, just as we did. And some of the other doctors too, Dr. Olson, Dr. Mahani, Dr. Manar, Dr. Crystal, several of them were spokesmen for the doctors, and but all the other doctors were united on what they were doing.
Well, as we're taping this, the ground has been broken on the new hospital near the existing one here in Campbell River, and that wouldn't be happening if it wasn't for you.
Not just me. It
No,
was
but
a lot of other people involved.
Absolutely. Brenda is certainly.
Brenda, Dr.
and Claire,
and Rich and Joanne,
but
our other colleagues from the Comox Valley. It was a group effort, and we were very gratified to see the support that we got from all the other people in the Comox Valley and the North Island.
And there were some councillors too.
And some councillors too. Charlie Cornfield jumped on board with us. And you know, the other mayors of the North Island, John McDonald, Craig Anderson, and Ted Lewis. We were a pretty happy bunch when they rescinded that motion.
You know, this is community television, and this is a good example of where community mobilization can still work. I mean, it's an uphill struggle in many, many cases. And it's still, and we're going to talk about the hospital design in a moment. But yeah, community spirit, it's a great thing.
It is. And, you know, we did come this far from 2006 with our combined Comox Valley and Campbell River people with Citizens for Quality Healthcare. But we see that our mandate is actually expanding beyond the hospitals, and we were involved in the New Horizons issue, seniors issues, and there's more things happening. So we decided on both parts that it made sense at this time to divide the group, to restructure, but because we will have unique issues for each of our communities. So we will deal with those, and yet we will also work together.
Who gets to keep their name and who has to change their name?
We don't.
Okay, you're both going to be citizens?
We're still Citizens for Quality Healthcare.
Bracket Campbell River?
It's from Oyster River North is the Campbell River one, and
Oyster River South.
Oyster River South are the rest of our folks, and you know, we're pretty proud of what we did with all our help all together.
Interesting that the issues are changing, but before we get to some of those, there's a headline here: July 4th, hospital moves to design and construction. Is it too late to, say, add a daycare into the hospital?
I don't think it's too late, and I think it's a great idea. I think that's one that I'll certainly bring up with Tom. Tom Sparrow is the project coordinator for both hospitals, and he is having community meetings about every 3 or 4 months. The next meeting, I understand, will be in September. That is a very good thing to bring up. I don't know how much is written in stone and how much flexibility there is.
But I'm going to interject. the new hospital, it's basically designed and it's going to be constructed. They know the size of the operating rooms. But you know, the existing hospital, hard to call it the old one, is they want to tear it down. And the mayor, fortunately, I think is not going to give them a demolition permit, though I don't know if he'll be mayor when that time comes. But there's another example. They could put the daycare in the old hospital.
You know, at the last meeting I attended, the neighborhood meeting that Tom had, the mayor was there, and Andy Adams and Claire Moglove were there. And we brought up the issue, the newest part of the old hospital, there's really nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
But they say to get it to seismic standards and everything and to redo it, it would be costly. It's going to be in the, you know, it's going to be a parking lot. And so when I asked Tom about it, he said, well, we need the land for future expansion of the hospital. And I said, but there isn't going to be any future expansion for many, many years, because there's so many hospitals in BC that are crying for money.
Yeah.
So this is our kick at the cat. It doesn't
Yeah.
seem to make a lot of sense
Yeah.
to tear that building down. But I think too that it doesn't fit in with their P3 agenda.
Yeah. I'm just going to point out here that the Campbell River Hospital serves, as you mentioned, a huge geographic area. There's going to be a lot of economic growth here. You can read my website, crnv.com, for a story about that. But the hospital, the new hospital, could well be too small. Now, there's an issue there about moving the, not acute care, but there's seniors who need advanced care. They shouldn't be in hospital, but yeah, and so
Well,
they're adding another facility to look after that. What's your take on how that's going to be?
Well, the list is very long. Even Claire Moglove, the chair of the hospital board, has been quoted on more than one occasion as saying the situation for seniors in Campbell River is beyond critical.
Yeah.
So this 40-bed ALC, alternative care level,
Yeah.
facility was supposed to be built before the new hospital. And Claire Moglove, every time she had a meeting with VHA, said, what about the 40 beds that are supposed to
Yeah.
come? And there was a request for proposals in the newspaper about a month ago.
Yeah.
So they will be picking a company. No doubt it will be private. I sincerely hope it is not the same people who now are the P3 partner with New Horizons.
Yeah.
Because I would like to see a better facility and better care for the seniors there.
Yeah. Let's go there. P3, public-private partnership. They did a big one in Abbotsford. Not sure that that's working out so well. There've been, I guess, there's other P3s around now, not that many,
Yeah.
but what I can see the advantage from government financially, but in the real world, how does that impact people and patients and doctors?
I think it probably works okay, other than healthcare. I
Yeah.
don't think that it belongs in a healthcare setting.
Yeah.
I do agree that the government likes them because they don't have to put the money
Yeah.
up front. The consortium that they contract with does that, and then the consortium bills it, and they operate it for 30 years as per New Horizons. But that contract can be sold many times over
Yeah.
the 30-year contract, which has just happened
That's
with
what
New
happened
Horizons.
at New Horizons. There was
And,
a reasonable operator, maybe not great, but not bad.
Yeah.
And then they couldn't make enough money. They sold it to somebody who said, "Oh, we can cut corners. We'll make money."
They can't make enough money, but Al and Jenny Gina, who have the P3 contract with the government, own many seniors' homes.
Right.
They say that they can't afford to pay the union wages and everything, even though the union did offer to keep the status quo for 2 years. But at the last VIHA meeting that was in Campbell River, I stood up and I asked Dr. Brendan Carr, the CEO of VIHA, what they were going to do about the government partnering with unscrupulous employers. And he said they have a right to do what they're doing within their contract.
Yeah.
So that was very disheartening.
Yeah. There's a certification hearing Friday, and that was the July 23rd paper. I haven't heard the last. Did the union get recertified at New Horizons?
I don't think that's going to happen. I didn't have time to read the paper this morning, but it looks like the staff have backed out on doing that.
Yeah. So, you know, like a P3 can be good for a road or a toll bridge or something.
Yeah.
But when it comes to healthcare,
it's for profit.
Yeah.
The whole focus is on profit, not healthcare.
Yeah.
And some of the P3s in the UK, they've actually had to cut services to the patients because the consortium gets their profit off the top. That comes first. And I think if you review the Abbotsford P3 hospital, something like $40 million was spent, of our healthcare dollars, was spent on lawyers negotiating all the contracts. And so in this hospital, it looks nice, but the housekeeping will be privatized. In Burnaby, even though it wasn't P3, there was a huge problem with
cleanliness.
With a bacteria there that killed 108 people.
Yeah.
And so the cohesive team that is at the hospital now work well together. When you start having different companies and different contracts, that cohesiveness isn't quite there.
What's going to happen on the food in the new Campbell River Hospital?
The patients will have the same food that they currently have. It will be prepared on site. That will not apply to the staff and visitors. They will have something like I think it's the Good Earth.
Vending machines or something.
Well, they are going to prepare fresh food on site, but then after hours it'll be in vending machines.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, time is flying. I know you want to talk about the Canada Health Accord and the Dr. Brian Day case.
The Canada Health Accord expired on March the 31st of this year. The federal government will not renegotiate it. They have come up with a different funding formula that will cut $5 billion of our healthcare dollars from BC alone. And I can't remember what the total is for all of Canada.
Yeah. But anyway, the feds are giving us spending cuts on healthcare.
So they are going to base this funding formula on our economy.
Huh.
So in the meantime, now we have Dr. Brian Day, who is challenging
doctor in Vancouver.
Our courthouse. He's challenging our public health care system. He has a private clinic in Vancouver. The court case starts on September the 8th in Vancouver, and there were 18 weeks set aside for this court case. It's now, after being on a conference call with the BC Health Coalition last night, it's now been bumped up to 22 to 24 weeks. This man obviously has a lot of financial backing. And to defend Medicare, and most people are not even aware that our Medicare is in real jeopardy, our provincial government is defending our Medicare, which makes me feel a little nervous because they seem to want to privatize everything. But the Canadian Doctors for Medicare and the BC Health Coalition and some other people have gone to court and received by the court intervenor status so that they can also defend our Medicare. Yeah. And we're going to be having a town hall meeting in Campbell River on October the 20th. And there will be one in Courtenay on October the 21st. we need to educate people and inform them that your Medicare is in jeopardy. We need to fight to keep it.
Another petition with 19,000 signatures.
Possibly. Lots of letters to politicians, to newspapers and such. And I'd like to mention too that we also have a Citizens for Quality Healthcare listserv with several people on it, and I administer that. And if anybody wishes to follow along on all these Campbell River and elsewhere issues, they can call me at 250-287-3096 if they would like to be put on the listserv.
And I should memorize your email address, loed@telus.net.
Right.
LOED at telus.net.
Right.
That's probably
Right.
the even better.
Yeah. So, yes, there's a
so
lot of work to do.
There's no rest. Time's just about gone. Did we do the Heart Society enough?
I think so.
Okay. Role of civic government in the 4-year terms. We've got elections in November.
Aha.
Are you worried about 4 years, or do you think that's a good thing?
Well, I think I would rather see it stay at 3 because if there's problems on council, it's better to have 3 than 4 years. But I must say, everybody should be looking at our civic election, our federal election, and our provincial election, and we should be asking questions about supporting our health care, supporting our seniors, their caregivers, and their families. And these questions should be asked on of the candidates that are running, because we are going to support people who are supporting our citizens, our seniors, their caregivers, and their families.
Quick on the senior center. Do you think Campbell River needs a standalone senior center, or just a room in the community center?
Well, I think it's gotten too large just to have a room in the community center.
Yeah.
So I think they do need a place.
A standalone. Yeah, good. Well, Lois, thank you very much for coming in. Best wishes on that campaign. October 20th is the big meeting, but watch for news coverage, because there's this issue is not going away.
This issue affects all Canadians.
Yeah, yeah.
All of us.
Good. Okay, well, there's Talk About Again. If you'd like to watch the show again, it's on the Shaw TV North Island YouTube channel, I guess you could say that. And I hope to post soon a link to it on my own website too, which is www.crnv.com. So, thank you, volunteers. Thank you, Shaw, for putting this on, and thank you for watching too.